brighter. Stop the fighting and the hate. We gotta make peace before it's too late. There's one sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. With one need, we all we gotta learn to live together. Peace in peace, in peace. Everyone lives, everyone dies. Everyone loves, everyone cries. Round the world for all the night. So why is the war? Why do we fight? There's one sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. When one hurts, when one needs, we all gotta learn to live together. Peace, make peace, make peace, peace. Alright. Is it a time, brother, stop dying? Is it a time, mother, stop crying? Stop the fighting and the hate. We gotta make peace before it's too late. There's one sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. With one hurts, with one needs, we all gotta learn to live together. Peace in peace, in peace. Alright, peace, peace together. Peace. Hey guys, how you guys all doing out there? Nice to see you guys. And I am live on Between Two Worlds, Chasing Shadows or Shadow Chasing Show program. Been busy doing this for last few years, and I've been what can I say? Lots to talk about. So tonight, I hope you guys can hear me well. I have a new mic in the room, and let's see if I can set up a little bit differently here so you guys can see me with the mic here in the studio. There we go. Make it much easier. There's lots to talk about tonight because right now we have well, first of all, I want to talk about okay. Let's bring two things or three. I'm gonna write a few more things down because I just forgot about that. So, yeah, this actually we are hot, folks. This microphone does work. It kicks butt and takes names too while you're at it. So I'm in the chat room here. Thank you guys for joining me in the chat room on the YouTube as well as Facebook and Telegram. So I'm doing all three locations. Those are unable to get in or whatever, let me know. You can always switch back and forth. I'm sure the mic is hot, right? This is kind of cool because I just got this mic, and what it does, I'm just switch it a little bit more here. There we go. What this mic does can actually, I can change colors in the programming, so it can actually change into multicolored, hot, red, blue, green, or it can go into all kinds of shades. But that's not what my interest was. I was more interested in getting the sound out there and to find the right connection with you guys. So what can I say, right? And yes, thank you, Keith. You're hotter. I'm in the hot seat right now. Okay, I'm in the hot seat. I decided to put my banner back up again, the backdrop. I have not done that in a long, long time. Yeah, there's lots here to talk about tonight. So let's get started. I want to talk about East Palestine in Ohio. Now, basically, everyone's been talking about it. So many train crashes. I've actually observed some of the trains that. So, well, the one train, for example, one train track in the East Palestine, it had black tankers, which actually has chemicals inside. I'm not going to say what kind of chemicals because we have no idea what they are. Some of you guys may know what they believe it should be. But I will say this, when I actually seen a video of a person who actually was at one of the crossings, the railroad crossing, and he recorded it, the train, okay, there was approximately about 8 or 10 tankers, black tankers. They were all lined up. Now, they weren't moving. They were just sitting there at the intersection of the crossroads. And something, and I will say this, suspiciously, something tipped them all over because they weren't going anywhere. It wasn't just one got tipped over. They all fell down like dominoes. If you haven't seen that video, go on my Telegram page. You'll see for yourself. You're going to go like, what? Now, you got to think about this, folks. These tankers weigh thousands and thousands of pounds. How can they actually get tipped over that easy at a standstill? Okay. There was no ice. There was nothing that would, it was typically clear. The grounds were clear, but they just sat there and all of a sudden one just went push and the rest followed. Okay. And they all fell down like dominoes. Next thing you know, the tops of the tanks just suddenly they were open. Gee, I wonder who opened all the tops of the tanks because they're supposed to be sealed. They tipped over and the liquid just poured right out. Now, you tell me what's going on, folks. Suspiciously, the land now, once a chemical is poured on that land, I mean, you're going to have environmentalists come down and they're going to have to do the major cleanup. And it's all over. Now, here's something I find suspicious. The government never called in any of the environmental cleanup. Nobody cleaned up the chemicals. Nobody actually showed up there. There was no one, not even mainstream media showed up there. No one showed up at the East Palestine in Ohio, in the areas where the railroad tracks, railroads actually cars, the tankers came over and tipped over. Not the cars, the tanks. Okay, just the tankers, not the cars. Cars never went over. And there must have been at least, I figured about maybe 30, 40 of them. There was quite a few of them there. But the way they tipped over so simple, so easily, like there's no way that anybody, even a human person, can actually tip over a tanker. Okay. And Joyce, yeah, it must be one of those white alien balloons that may have taught you. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it may have been the way, you never know. Anyways, what I want to bring, reason why I'm saying this, because there is a reason for all of these sudden railroad crashes and tipping of just tanks all over the world. It's everywhere. Okay. Why are they tipping? Oh, why they got tipped? Just the tankers, just the ones that have the chemicals in them that, people were saying in the East Coast. Okay, and there's a recording of it. Even in Canada, there was one that actually got tipped over Montreal, and the chemicals came out. Now this is the area where, doesn't make any sense. So what I really think that maybe it's possible that someone from up above could have like choo-choo and made it go click. Okay, and like I said, suspiciously. So in the meantime, what's going on is, like I said before, there was no environmentalists that showed up. There were nobody's on there doing a cleanup whatsoever. They weren't even saying anything for the longest time. I mean, it took them a long time to get there. And I mean, the government's supposed to get them down there. Anything to do with emergency. I mean, I've seen emergency spills before because I used to work in the gas plants, folks, years and years ago, back in the 70s. If there ever was a spill, the environmentalists were down there, like right now, cleaning up the spillage. Like right now, this is not happening. Okay, even I don't care. There's a reason why this is supposed to happen. Now, here's my suspicion. Okay, I'm going to just give you my thoughts. Okay, I really believe that these tankers were knocked over for one reason. Because once the government, what happens is, and I will say their name, okay? We've got the, well, I'm going to say this correctly. I want to say this nicely so then I don't get kicked out because I've already been kicked out of YouTube before. Let's see. World Economic Forum, okay, those guys. They signed a deal, and the deal is this: if any land that gets destroyed, notice how I was making a sound. Okay, any land that gets destroyed, the government controls it. The government owns it. Once the government owns that land, then they take it over, which now becomes a different story. Because in comes the smart cities. Okay. The smart cities are built on the very same land. Oh, they'll do a cleanup after, but the smart cities are built on that land, and we can't do anything about it. Basically, they'll end up taking the land away from the owner, whether it's a farmer, you name it, whoever owned that land. The government takes it over, grabs it from them, and says, we own it now because when the chemicals are no good. You can't raise cattle on here. You can't have anything in the fields. You can't grow any grains. So we're going to take it from you. And that's exactly what it is. They actually have done. Okay, let's see what happens here. Okay, Dolores says the senator has been there every day pushing no FEMA, right? The chemicals are still sitting at the bottom of the rivers, yeah. Till you mess with it, then it looks like like oil coming to the top. Then they burned what was on top. Now people have black ash. It's true, but there's more to it. Okay, the senator was there every day, but I'm saying the cleanup people were not there. Now, it's not up to the senator to call environmental the environmental people. I'm not going to say the words because, and again, we're being watched. We're being really closely watched. Where is written? I have it right here. It's on the website, by the way. The World Economic Forum. You go on their webpage, and they'll tell you exactly what they're doing. Okay, it's on their page. So, because they're the ones that are actually building the smart city, and the only way they can build a smart city, if any land is no good, that could be nothing able to be grown on it, then they actually will take the land from you, and you're done. Then it's basically they start building their smart cities. Okay, that's their goal. Now, I'm not going to go any further than that right now on that part, in the smart city part, but I'm going to go further with this. Like I said before, the suspicion of why these tanks are falling over. Now, Of all the years I've seen trains tip over, I mean, I've got a guy here in the chat, in our chat room here, who actually has worked for the railroad, so he pretty well gets an idea and understands the whole story, the whole scenario, how it should work. And there's no way that he says it would, no way it would be ever, this sort of thing would ever be left alone as it is. One thing I did notice or did see, and I was recording, and I was very, very impressed. Donald Trump showed up. President Trump showed up in the area where the contamination had taken place. He showed up and he was trying to be there supportively for the people. He wasn't there for autographs. He was there to say, what can we do for you? So I think what happened was that the senator actually contacted Trump, and Trump came down. And he showed up. Biden never showed up. Biden never showed up at all. Nobody from his own Senate, nobody from his government ever showed up, but Trump did. And he tried to, and he was actually wearing boots, boots on the ground, guys. Get it? Boots on the ground. He wore boots. Watch carefully. And there actually was a movie. Yes, Terry, there was actually a movie on Netflix years ago. I can't think it was 1990s, I believe, over the same repeat situation where a train came in through the area, the train tipped over, chemicals poured out, the whole scenario. And actually the crazy part, I'm not gonna say funny, the crazy part of it is they actually mentioned the town by name, okay, Palestine, Ohio, and here's like, it's almost as if it was pre-planned. Okay. And so the thing is that, like I said, the president was there, Donald Trump was there, and he was there to help people, give them support. And he says, what do you need? What can we do for you? So now he's going to be helping out, make plans, make sure this thing is cleaned up. He's going to try and do as best he possibly can. Somebody said that Rudy Giuliani did show up too. Oh, great. I'm like I said before, there's things. There's a reason why all this is happening, folks. Okay, this to prepare all of us here, and we need to be ready for it because, March is coming along. March is coming, and we're going to be very busy for the month of March. Now, let's see. Dolores says the railroad is trying to offer people $1,000 so no one can sue them. Trump passed a bill to pull back on the funds on trains, and when he was president, he made a mistake showing up. I don't think he made a mistake showing up. There's a reason why he's there. Keith says, when I was working for CNR, which is Canadian National Railway, environmental cleanup crews would be there right now. And he's right. They would be there. So the thing is that, and sure, CNR, we have CNR in the East Coast. I mean, this is one of our trains actually had tipped over there. Not one, a few tankers tipped over as well here in Canada. So but here's the crazy part of it is that there are so many of them. I think someone said there's approximately 8 to 12 train turnovers. We haven't seen all the videos. There's quite a few of them that turned over from different countries, to 8 to 12 countries that actually had train tipping overs. Okay. So, and it's funny. The crazy part is, or funny part of this is it happened all in a matter of a couple of days. I've never heard of anything internationally of any trains tipping over all over in 2 days. Why just 2 days? I mean, I could see it. If a train tipped over, that's one area. Okay. Another one today in Nebraska. Thank you very much, Terry. Okay. So they're coming all over the place. I'm waiting for one to tip over in British Columbia. I'm waiting for one to tip over in Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Ontario. Okay, Montreal just had its first tip. So, I mean, we're going to end up having tipping over as well of every province, and it's going to get, and including the U.S., okay, probably almost every state. And everybody's going to go like, oh, well, not every train is safe and it tips over easily. No, it doesn't. Thank you, Dolores. I think they said an average 3 a day are having problems. Yeah, 3 tippings a day. There's something here, folks. Do you think about it? There's a reason why all this is happening. Wake up. Wake up. Okay? There's a reason why this is all happening. You start one thing to build up to the other. Okay? Now, one thing I will say this, and I was quite shocked. In one way, I was very shocked. I'm not sure how many of you guys ever actually watched the TV series The View, where Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar and all those people that come on there, ladies that come on there, and they actually interview whoever comes on that's famous, whatever, on their show. But at first, when they do start the show, they talk about current events that are coming up that have happened. Well, on The View today, or even yesterday, I think it was today, Joy Behar opened her trap, and she says that East Palestine got what they deserved because they voted for Trump. She said that in her own words. It's actually in the news media, and this is her words. Okay. She said East Palestine got what they deserved because they voted for Trump. Joy Behar, who in the hell do you think you are? You may hate Trump, but those people don't deserve to be picked on. Those people deserve to lose their lives because you may be rich, but one day, Joy, they're going to come get you. You wished you never messed with Trump. Okay. And I mean, I don't watch the show as much as I used to. I used to enjoy watching because some of the people I'm actually watching through some of the interviews on YouTube. But I think today went too far. She has a major hate for him. She's probably a Democrat, whatever she calls herself, but she's someone of her own demonic means. And she wanted to basically open up her mouth and pick on the people in that area of East Palestine. I think you are the most ridiculous woman I ever heard of. Having to pick on these people is wrong, very wrong. And here's my opinion. You guys, and if anybody knows watches The View, they should boycott it. They should boycott The View, or boycott Joy Behar and demand that she be removed from her position. She had no right to say that. None whatsoever. That's very, very cruel. And Whoopi said if Trump became president, she was leaving the USA. Well, yeah. Where's she going to go? East Palestine? or the Palestine? The other country? Yeah, okay. Basically, there's a reason why the name East Palestine or Palestine has a purpose. And I'll tell you why, because I really strongly feel that the Palestine is next in its own area. And that means, to me, may relate to underground cleanup, child trafficking, the whole 9 yards. Okay. Probably Joy is a CLONE herself. So, because her one eye keeps on dropping half the bloody time when she talks on TV. So she's not the same one. I think that they send her in to they'll just say, microphone here, say this. So we'll see what happens, right? Yeah, I wanted to share that with you guys. Okay. Let's talk about I want to talk about the WEF. Now, even though there is a deal signed by some of the countries that they're all going to be signing together to do whatever they want to control our rights and to take our rights away from us, that they're going to try to force V's on us. And if we don't follow the forcible V's, that we will get a ticket or taken to PRISON. WEF is not a law. WEF is just an elective group. These guys have no knowledge about HEALF. They have no knowledge. All they want to do is to control the masses. Their goal is to still keep on human trafficking. They still want to keep on child pedophilia. They want to still keep on doing bloodletting. They still want to keep on practicing their satanic programs. They still want to keep on feeding us garbage and to make us believe that everything is good. So, number one, WEF is not a real law. Never has been, never will be. Whether I don't care how many times you sign that piece of paper, you guys are not electively chosen by us, the people. We never chose you. In fact, we wanted you to get rid of you, and you kept on thinking, "Oh no, nobody's going to hate us. Nobody's going to like us. No, nobody's going to choose that we're not going to be liked." You are members of the Luftwaffe. You are the members of the late HITLER group. You are Klaus Schwab's people because Klaus Schwab owns you. And so does the HITLER group. We all know that. And that's what the WEF is. And anybody who follows the WEF are followers as well. And you guys are also walk in the SATAN way. And you know that. We know that. How can we stop you? It's called God. God's on our side. And you can't stop us. No, you can't. None of you can. You can't stop us. And you think you can? But I'll tell you guys why. We have been dealing with your brainwashing in WF. We've been dealing with your brainwashing for the last 3+ years. And that is locking us down in our home to make us believe that we can't do anything for ourselves, that we are supposed to be weaklings and we have no rights as a human source or a life source because you call us waste of baggage, waste of human life. We're not a waste of human life. You are. If you think you're going to be living a long time, you guys are done. Okay? You guys are done. WF, you're done. I'm waiting for the military to come pick you guys up, and you're going to take your one-way trip in silver jewelry, and not just around your wrists, but they're going around your ankles, and you're making that one-way walk to GITMO or another location, military tribunal. You're going bye-bye. That's it. And that's exactly what you guys have to do. You have to, whether it's in Canada, you're under the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. You have the say to stand up for yourself. You also have the Nuremberg Code, okay, to protect you. You also have the Geneva Convention that protects you. These are international laws that are far above the WEF because it's militarized. They're not. They are called the New World Order. New World Order was organized a long time ago, hundreds of years ago, but yet the last 20 years it was announced in the media as often as they can, whoever actually wants to follow the New World Order way. In fact, we had a bunch of wrestlers that wanted to use that same phrase, the New World Order, and everybody fell for they thought these guys were heroes. They just took the name. But here's what I found is funny, because I watched one of the wrestling matches, AEW, this last week. And the guys they're playing wrestling, but they actually use the basketball in the ring. One of the players, I won't mention her name, but one of the players like every guy wore a shirt, like a basketball shirt, but normally every guy has a shirt that has, number 0, whatever have you, to the numbers. But this one guy, who I thought was quite interesting, because I think he's a follower of what we do, what we know, because this man is smart. And for some reason, he was relaying a message to us too. Because on his back, he made sure, because it was mentioned about the East Palestine spillage. And they all felt bad for them. And everybody kept saying, we're on your side. We're here for you. Let us know, what we can do for you. And then everybody said, I'm awakened. Somebody said, I'm awakened. One of the guys turned around on his basketball shirt. It said 777. Now, I've never seen a jersey with three numbers on it before. 2, but not 3. So why did he use that? Because he is awakened. This young man knows what's going on. Okay? He knew what's going on, but he wanted you folks to wake up. You may think that you're going to get away from not wanting to see or hear about what's on the news. Even the sports people like to give you codes in numbers as well. Your football game, the playoffs that took place a few weeks back, that was all satanic. Those numbers were all satanic. It was already set in play who was going to win, who was not. It was already preset. Everybody knew who was going to win because it was set. Because even not the coaches, but even the referees were telling the football players what to do, what and how to fall, and not to catch the ball. Referees are not supposed to do that in football games. All they're supposed to do is just, if you make a mistake, you lost the football, that means whatever, you follow the rules. But they didn't do that. In fact, there's even a video of one of the referees giving a football player complete heck. You're not supposed to do that. You were supposed to do this. I told you not to do that. And he had his ear things in. And the football player refused to listen to the rules. And that's why it got twisted around a little bit, because people were going to kind of worry, like, wait a minute here. I thought they were supposed to lose. Because some football players are awake. Guys, not every football player is following cabal. So the thing is that we have every player out there, whether he or she disagrees. And we are losing a lot of our players through snake bites. So many snake bites. They're getting so many snake bites that they're dying left and right. Even our doctors. And there's well over, I think, how many doctors have died? Possibly someone said around 120 plus so far. That's in Canada. It was in 1 year. Not even a year. The year's not even up yet. We've lost that many sudden deaths of snake bites. I'm actually just blown away. It's horrible. They got to do something about it. This has got to stop. Too many snakes. It's getting bad, really bad. I mean, the doctors are dying left, right. I mean, and they're not even including the nurses on the list. How many nurses are getting snake bitten? It's horrible. And yet, these are sudden deaths, guys. They're just suddenly the snake, like, once you get that bite, it doesn't take long. It's like, you're gone. That's it. Unless they have the right thing to help, to fix the snake bite. But only if the hospital has it available, it's all in code. We're trying to do this. We're trying to fix them. Try to inform them what's going on. those who are coming in late, thank you guys for joining us in the YouTube chat room as well as Facebook chat room, and also in Telegram. I'm in all 3 locations, and I try to be as live as possible, not dead. And yeah, I'm having fun. I'm enjoying this. I'm just wanting to give you guys a bit of a heads up here in Canada as well as the US and across the world. This is getting crazier and crazier. We've had so many earthquakes in Turkey, so many earthquakes, so many buildings going down. A lot of lives have been lost. You know, I'll tell you why. My suspicion is this, folks. Suspicion is this: too many underground tunnels. When the government starts building these underground tunnels, whether it's subways, you name it, the ground gives up after there's an earthquake. The buildings fall over. They should do something about it. Really, it's horrible. All these people are dying in Turkey. I mean, it's getting horribly getting to be really crazy now. Apparently there was another earthquake, and there were so many loss of lives. It was by the thousands, and and no one. I mean, there are people trying to do something about it. Okay, I mean, I know they are, but you can only try to be there as best as possibly help people out. But it gets to be crazy. And I feel real bad for all those people that were building the underground tunnels, like they've lost their lives. Um, you know, it gets to be crazy. So we have another story that we're getting smart cities being built all across the world. And I've actually seen introductory in one of our newspapers today, or not today, a week ago, that Surrey, British Columbia actually is building its very first, or actually has started its very first smart city. And the region will be surrounded around City Hall, the start of it. So there's a call the 15-minute surrounded areas of the smart city. If you folks may not know what smart cities mean, it means surveying, monitoring, analysis, reporting technology. Has nothing to do with your phone. Similar, but that's what it is. This is what it's called. Okay. Which basically means that how do you say this? Basically, every resident will be given a tracking system or tracking card system following every movement you do every day. And that means that if you're going to the bathroom, they want to know why. How much power you're using your home, they want to know why. How much TV you watch, they want to know why. Anytime you use the internet, they want to know who you're talking to. Anytime you use a phone, they want to know who you're talking to. I mean, they want to track you everywhere. When you go grocery shopping, you have to have that card and or whatever, how you want to identify yourself. And they, in actually superstores, in the one in Surrey now is beginning to build it. They start putting railings in, railings in on the inside of the superstores, and they're putting the ones in the front. And so basically, you're not going to be allowed to come into the store unless you have your little card, and it won't let you in. If you have the card, then that's your smart card, then they'll let you in. But if you don't have the smart card, you don't get in. You can't go grocery shopping. So, like I said, folks, this is getting to be crazy. So what do we do? How do we fix that? Well, number one, save as much cash as you can. Because what's going to happen is there are mom-pop businesses that are not going to follow the regime of any belief of that you have to use cards, they'll be willing to take cash. So be prepared for that. Now, when I told you guys months and months and months ago that there's going to be some sort of a system that's going to start up. Remember I told you that already? I gave you guys warning months and months and months ago. I said, let me the last couple of years. I said there's going to be a time that they're going to have some sort of a one more time lockdown for at least 10 to 15 days. Maybe more. But they're going to try and see if they can control you. They're going to try and see if they can do whatever they can to tell you what to do. They're going to try and to see if they can control your bank account. They're going to try and see if they can control what you consume, what you eat, what you can't eat. They're going to tell you what you can buy, cannot buy. They're going to, basically, it's what this is. Smart city means surveying, monitoring, analysis, reporting, technology. These are the 5 categories that they want to follow you around like little robots. You're going to be a slave to the WEF. Do you understand? A slave to the WEF. And also including the smart cities, or the programming will be who's allowed to watch Facebook, who's allowed to watch any social network, who's allowed to participate or even have any kind of programming, including, say, YouTube or social networks. They're going to control that too. If they don't like what they hear or see, if you disagree what smart cities are doing, or if you disagree what WEF is doing, they get to come to your home. So they say. They'll bring the WEF police over. They'll have a special group. WEF police come over and give you a ticket, or they will arrest you. They'll come to your door. As soon as you open your door, they come and take you into jail. And here's what I say, okay? Do not, my advice is this, do not accept the ticket. Do not even put it in your hand. If they hand it to you, do not even touch it. And you say these words, non-assumpts it. You say these words and write it down. Get yourself a pen or paper. You write down these words, non-assumpts it. Non-assumpts it. It means I refuse to contract. That's what it means. I refuse to contract, because basically you are considered as a contract. You are considered as an ownership. They own you as a slave. You think slavery, folks, when you talk about Black Lives Matter, and they have dealt with slavery before, they don't care your color, your skin anymore. The Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, and the Bilderbergs, they want to own your ass. Okay? They want to own your ass, and they want to own it to the point where you don't even survive. They don't care about you. They're going to try and own you. Okay? So you have to put them in their place, because you have the right as a human being. You have a right as a person that lives on this earth. You were born here for one reason, because God brought you here. The devil didn't bring you here. God brought you here. They have no say in the matter. God says you have free will. It's in the Bible. You have free will. That's what you have. You have free will. But if you want to let a unorganized government that chose itself to be slave trading, that's exactly what they're going to be doing. They're going to slave trade you. Think about it. Do you really want to be a slave? I mean, sure, you always kept on saying, oh, I'm a slave to my job. There's a difference, because you chose a job to work. They want you to go to work back and forth, but they want you to go to work no further away than 15 minutes. And if you do work further away, then you have to have a permit. And if you travel too far every day, you're only allowed up to 100 hours per month. If you pass that 100 hours, then you'll be fined $1,400 per fine. They'll actually seize and freeze your bank account, so you get no money. How are you going to pay the bill? So if you got cash on hand, make sure your money is set aside where it's protected, because they're going to try everything they can to freeze everything, because it's a one world government. WWG. Most people don't know that. Am I upset? Am I afraid? No. I knew this was going to happen. I was waiting for it. I've been waiting for this bloody crap to come to fruition since 2003, because my extraterrestrial friends told me this was going to happen and what to prepare for and how to understand. And then I had to do my research and meet other people like-minded like myself to learn to make a decision. And everybody work together. We all need to work together as family. We need to protect each other, not hate each other. Protect each other. The WEF doesn't give a crap about you. They're exempt. They don't. They're using the climate change as their excuse. They're saying, "Oh well, because of climate change, we're going to do a carbon test on you every day." Carbon test. We breathe into the carbon, or we breathe it out. We breathe in oxygen, we breathe out carbon. Everyone farts. Every cow farts. Every animal farts. Because we're getting rid of all the gases. That's common. That's normal. That's what the earth is all about. Okay? Thing is, we need to understand one thing, folks. Do not let anybody tell you how to live your life. And they're all, thank you, Nicole. That's exactly what the government was trying to do. And here's a thing. You can say to the person that's going to get in your face about this and say, oh, they're going to say, oh, well, you have it. Is there something wrong with you, or something wrong with your mind, or you feel you need to go see a doctor, or is there something wrong with you? The police are going to use this on you to make you feel like you're out of your head. And you know what you say to the police? You say, "Look, gentlemen, I know you work for the WEF, and you must be crazy to work for them. How does it feel to work for a satanic organization that you follow? How does it feel that you like to follow this group?" And if they say, "Well, it's just my job," that's not a job. You're doing devil worshiping. Then I'll tell them. I said, "How many babies have you sacrificed so far?" You tell the officer. Ask them, "How many babies have you sacrificed? How much blood have you really taken from a child? Or do you drink adrenochrome? Do you drink the blood?" Because I'm curious. You said it's just your job, so it means this is what you guys do too as well. Because they're telling you what to do, so you have to do everything they tell you. And this is exactly what they do. Are you willing to sacrifice a child? Are you willing to do human trafficking? Because you're supporting human trafficking from the WEF. That's what WEF is. It's a human trafficking organization. And anybody who represents that organization, any country, they are supporters of human trafficking. Right? Because there is, and Caroline, yeah, there's no such thing as climate change. Do you know who actually came up with the idea of climate change? It was the Rothschilds. And the Rothschilds came up with that because they've been teaching us that since school. Oh, we need to go green. Okay, well, we will be leprechauns. We'll do the Irish thing. Okay. Everyone's doing their part to take care of the earth. That's wonderful. Oh, now it's illegal to use straws because they're plastic. Really? A plastic straw. It's illegal to use straws, but it's okay to give drugs, illegal drugs, to a homeless person and watch them die slowly in the street. Think about it. You guys worry about bloody straws, plastic straws. Oh, well, because they're floating ashore off the boats and then they landed on the beaches and we got to clean them up. No. Think about this, folks. Think about this carefully. It was Japan that had a tsunami years back. It had a tsunami. It lost over 1.5 million people in that tsunami. One of my really good friends died because of that. He didn't die there, but he died after he got home. because too much radiation in his body, he passed away. I was supposed to have been with him in Japan that night, that month of March. But I didn't go because Spirit warned me ahead of time. 3 days straight told me, don't go. And I warned him not to go. I warned Ron, don't go. But Ron said, was anything going to happen to me? No, not while you're there, but you'll be stuck there. And he was. He was there, stuck there for a month. Because 3 days after he was there, they had the tsunami. And the waters rose so high, it basically washed a lot of the vehicles and anything that was coming from the island of Japan landed on the beach here in British Columbia, all over from everything from Vancouver Island to here in the Vancouver region, central area. Lower Fraser Valley, we got anywhere where there is an ocean, we got the shoreline of it. And then we have people up there that were actually trying to pick up all the garbage off the shoreline without using radiation machines to check for radiation, like, little Geiger counters. They didn't have them with them. Oh no, this is garbage. Let's clean it up. Then next thing you know, next few days after, everybody's going, I don't know why I'm so sick. They show up in the hospital and they're actually got fully engulfed with radiation. Gee, I wonder where that came from, folks. Did you just recently have an X-ray at a hospital? No. And that's exactly what you guys do. Or else they find these vehicles are floating ashore and I think I'll just keep this car. I'll just reuse it. No, it's full of radiation. You got to bury the son of a gun. Okay. Think about it, folks. We have to think smarter, not harder. My father taught me that. You think smarter and not harder, because I remember years and years ago, you worked harder and you still think you couldn't get ahead. You're trying to get ahead, and that's why people end up having 2 jobs, 3 jobs, sometimes 4 jobs. And yeah, radiation can kill you. My friend Ron passed away a year later because after the autopsy, it was too much radiation in his intestines. Where in the hell did the radiation come from? The tsunami in Japan. He didn't have no x-rays done. He was sick because he drank the water from the north side of the country. That's where the radiation was, the heavy radiation. The farmers were trying to were actually growing vegetables and water and bring in water from the north. And everybody kept on saying, there's a lady friend of mine that lives in Japan, and she says to me, she says, anything comes from the north, you do not drink the water or eat their vegetables or their foods, because it's still full of radiation. People are dying there still in Japan, in the north side. Right? Yes, Nicole, kelp is naturally high in iodine, which can help as long as you don't have thyroid issue already. Yes. And that's exactly what happened to Ron. He had a thyroid issue. Even though he was slightly overweight, I mean, very overweight, man, but it got worse. And they use his weight as an excuse. Oh, well, because you're a large man. No. He knew how to get around. He was a fun guy. He was a very entertaining fellow. The guy lived in New York. Ron asked me to come up with him to Japan. And I was so looking forward to going and working with him. Another psychic like myself. That's the reason why we're going, because we were doing readings for corporate businesses, huge corporate, and he was getting paid $5,000 an hour. It was, but because it's very expensive living in Japan, but that's exactly what was going on. And Ron asked me, come up with me, I'll give you half. I was ready to go, but no, I'm not putting my life in danger. And nor was I going to come home and put somebody else's life in danger either. I have to trust what Spirit guides me to say and do. Many times I had my life, I've had near-death experience. My life was in danger. Not sharing what I'm sharing, but my life was in danger, even certain things that I was doing. What about Northern Korea? Food by nuclear sites? Yes. Don't eat the food. Anything near nuclear sites? No. If the nuclear energy has been exposed in that area, you do not eat that food. It's still radiation. Nuclear is radiation. Still the same. Absolutely. So our South Asian East Indian brothers and sisters have actually had the ones that had their own farms, including in India. They've been fighting Bill Gates' organization, Monsanto, for the last 5 or so years because they've been trying to hang on to their land, but Bill Gates has been trying to forcibly buy them out, and they've been using their Monsanto attitude with rice, the Monsanto rice, and they're trying to sue the farmers and destroy and take basically force the farmers to sell their land to Bill Gates, and then Bill Gates shuts down their farm. So basically, he's causing or has caused a food shortage in India. So the thing is, he did the same thing here. He tried to do the same thing here in British Columbia, a food shortage by approaching all the East Indian farmers here, and they were protesting the last 2 to 3 years, even before COVID started. They're protesting, saying, no food, no farmers, or no farmers, no food. And they're still got stickers all over the world, their vehicles, and they're letting people know what's going on, but they didn't really know why. Now we know why. It's based on what was happening before that led to this. Because Bill Gates, his intention was to buy out every piece of farmland all across the world. He's the only man in the world who actually owns approximately about 80% of farmland across the world. 80%. And there was actually farmers that were protesting for their rights of being farmers and have the right to own their own crops and do their own, and they actually have been fighting all across the world. In fact, they were protesting with their farm machinery, huge farm machinery, tractors, you name it, protesting, and the government didn't even pay attention to them and went and just basically avoided them, even though they just like a convoy, except it's tractor convoy. And they were actually ignored by the government. The WHO just said, WEF and WHO said, we're not listening to you. You're losing your land. We're taking it from you. We're shutting you down. Not one farmer has a farm now because they're trying to force all the farmers into the city. That's what their goal is, to force all the farmers, the true farmers, into the cities. So then Monsanto, which is Bill Gates' company, can control all of the GMO, genetically modified organisms. So they're going to put all kinds of foreign stuff inside of you, that whatever you consume, even bugs. Do you really want to eat bugs every day? It's not good for you. We already know that. Yeah, kelp is actually high in iodine. It is. Yeah. It is high in iodine. So, Mr. Klaus Schwab, he actually said that we have no choice. These are his words. We have no choice. And it's the way of the Führer. Oh, he made a mistake one day. He said these words, the way of the Führer, which he's talking about the Third Reich, which now has become the Fourth Reich. The Agenda 2030 government states that they can seize your property, possibly fines or arrests. So basically, they are carrying on from World War II. The same thing all over again. Okay. Do you want this? Do you want this to really happen? Are you willing to fight? I mean, that's the reason why our soldiers fought and they gave their lives for us to be free in every country, whether they're American, Canadian, Australian, Scottish, Irish, England, you name it. They're all across the world, and they fought for freedom against the Germans. The Russians are fighting for us. They're not fighting for themselves. They're fighting for us. The Germans are fighting against Schwab. Putin is with us. He works with us. He's alongside of us. The United States is working alongside of us. Thing is that Mr. Bidan, Al Bidan, or Jay Bidan, the fakery one, he's not showing up at anything that relates to helping people. He just says suffer. I mean, his words are, I'm not going to say nothing. I'm going to totally avoid you. And we already know that he's been gone by a couple years back. So, but we got this one here, and that's supposed to be one of them. Actually, is his own brother, who's just taken his place. And yeah. Now, so anyways, Schwab is people have actually said to me, has the alliance cleaned up all of the deep state? Yes, they have. Is the Klaus, is he here or gone? He's gone. But then why is he there? Why do we see him there? He's a clone. Soros is a clone. They're all clones. They want you to wake up. But this is what the 2030 agenda was when they were alive. For the real ones were alive. Their agenda was to control everyone, the world, to the point of all that would be allowed to survive on this earth. Their goal was to eliminate all, okay, all people on this earth. That was their goal. And the only ones that were going to be living or surviving was 550,000. That was it. Where is my other recorder? 1 second, guys. Where did I put you? Nope. Give me a break. Trying to find my other recorder. My other recorder quit. Burnt up. Unless I can change batteries. I'm not going to change batteries now. There. No. There it is. I have a spare recorder. I record my program. Oops, wrong one. Okay. There we go. Just like that. I record my IO program so I can actually share that recording and place it on or other audio programming stations. So, like I said before, folks, if you ever get anyone that comes to your door, bang, 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 this is the WEF police, we want to come in, don't let them in. Now, I'll tell you why, because my angel that came to see me a month ago, and she appeared in front of me, in front of my own chair when I was meditating. And when she showed herself to me in person, like I was not, my eyes were not closed, my eyes are wide open. She appeared before me and she told me adamantly for everyone to know, do not let in those people, because there are going to be people out there that are going to be afraid, thinking they're going to lose their lives, or thinking they're going to do something wrong, or thinking they're all going to go to jail, because they're going to use that fear factor on people. And they're going to use that fear factor, and they're going to have people believing that they will not have a life and they'll never be free and the whole 9 yards. Well, number one, you're never free. You're not going to be free if you allow the WEF to control you, because you're not free. You'll be a slave to them, and they're going to control your life. And there will be more people that will want to commit suicide, and this is what the government wants. They want you to give up your life. Well, don't even think about it, folks. Do not even leave your life. You got things to do. You have the right to live, and you will make it. I know you will. I have faith in you. God has faith in you, right? Okay. Thomas says everyone who runs the clones handles them, IS them in principle. Yeah. So basically, we are being tested for our inner strength. We're being tested on our inner mind. We're being tested to see how strong we really are. Like this is the whole thing is a show. Everything here is a show, but they're showing you that the reality of it. I mean, we have to learn to be aware of what's going on. That's why I tell people do as much due diligence and your research as possible. Because if you don't do your research, you're going to go like, I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. Then do your freaking research. You know, I'm not the only one. There's so many people that I've met out there that are just as better as I am in their research. But we all share with each other, which is vitally important. And it's going to be a kicker. I mean, I'm going to explain something else to you guys that you're going to be kind of like, what? I don't believe this, but it's going to be just absolutely true. Okay. So my angel told me to be prepared for the, within the next couple months, they're looking around May where they start to do their controlling the public. Okay. They're going to start doing their smart city. They're going to try to activate. Now, I'm not sure who's going to be the first one in order they're going to control, but they're going to work on it. My angel told me to be prepared in the next few months, okay, or by May. Make sure you have plenty of cash online to protect yourself, plenty of money set aside, and food. Start gardening. Get ready your gardening ready, because basically you'll be focusing on trying to grow your own. You may have to because you may not be able to get to the stores if they're going to tell you that you got to use these smart little cards. You can refuse them, Mono. You don't have to be part of it all. Be prepared for the next few months. Back a message to everyone: if you do not, and she adamantly said, do not allow the WF agents coming into your home. Do not let them in. That means you do not answer the door. Like, do not open the door. You can look through the window, but don't open the door. You may receive a ticket, and if you do, you do not comply. Do not comply. Don't even accept the ticket. Don't even put it in your hand, because that means that you've accepted it as a ticket. You just say, no, not a substance, not a subset, and they'll say, what's an subset? Well, if you don't know, then yeah, I understand. So I refuse your contract. I refuse the contract. Okay, that's what you got to do. It's a law. It's an international law. Let's see here. People were asking me, will this ever happen in the city of Surrey, which is in BC, British Columbia here in Canada, has started, and yes, they have started the construction in the areas as well. City Hall now has already started their smart city. I've seen on their website, go to the City Hall of City of Surrey, you'll see on their website, it actually says smart city, and that's a 15-minute, and like basically you're given 15 minutes to go to your store and back. If you're going to buy things, you're only given 15 minutes. If you're not back by 15 minutes, then you get a ticket. That they're making it where it's hard for you to do things. They prefer not to allow you to be outside. They're gonna play the same game again. And they did this practice once before to the people up in Australia. They did the 15-minute thing, and they did that in Australia 2 years ago. So they got the brunt of it all. They can tell you it wasn't pretty. It was horrible. Okay. It was not well liked in their part. Also, let's see, they started construction, in the areas as well, and the shopping centers like Superstores, Walmarts, Costco's. They're barricading the entrances now and exits without using the smart city cards. So you'll be seeing that in the newspapers, and they'll be announcing it on TV. When the mainstream media hears about it, and they're going to say, oh, it's a wonderful thing to do. Like, you see, you don't have to even spend any more money anymore. You don't have to carry the cash in your pocket. Yes, you do. Your cash has more worthy than a piece of plastic. because that piece of plastic is to track you where you've been and where you've gone. I mean, that's why we have the cell phones. They're also trackers. And what really bothers, and I'll tell you this, what really bothers the government when anybody has an iPhone, they hate it because they can't track you. They can track your Android, but they can't track you. If you turn off your tracking system, that they can't track you. Look in your phone, in your settings. They do have a tracking system in there. That's called a wellness tracking system. Turn it off. Did you know that? Do not use it. That is all to do with the COV. Okay? They are checking you, making sure if you're going somewhere, you're turning the tracking system on, that they're following everywhere you go. Turn the wellness program off of your Android as well as your iPhone. Do not use it. Okay, I'm telling you, do not use it. And if it's if there's a COV program in it, you turn it off, and you can block it. Don't even use it. I don't give a crap if you've been jabbed a few times and snake bitten a few times, they're going like, well, I need it just by some chance if I ever get it again. Don't be ridiculous. Turn it off. Okay. 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 Yes. There has been lately in Saskatchewan as well as Manitoba, there were hazmat suit wearing government officials going out to some of these areas where there's lakes, not just lakes, but there's watering holes. We use the word watering holes that cattle use that's owned by the farmers. Even the farmers own the land. The government has no right on that land. And the hazmat suit wearing people will show up uninvited, and they will drop POISIN into the water, and then they'll say, oh, the water's no good, you're going to have to kill your cattle. And they're also going to start they're supposed to be starting the SAR VI Russ. That's supposed to be started again, repeat. They're going to start that again in the next couple of weeks. So be prepared for that. Don't let anyone come to your business or farmland, and do not allow them even to kill any of your chickens or birds. They even went as far as coming in your home and killing your own pet, your pet bird. Parrots, parakeets, you name it. Like, there is no V. But they're doing it anyways because they say, oh, well, it's you know who invented it? FAUCI. Okay. DR. He actually was the one that he's the one that invented it. He created it, invented it, and then gets people to think that we really have it. He created all that. Okay. Oh, gets better or crazier. So it does the same thing. They're going to they'll be entering your land to basically trying to poison the water. And once they do that, that means that the government can come in and actually take your land away from the farmer, and then you lose your cattle, because then they'll end up destroying all your cattle if you let them. That's why Trudeau wanted to create a gun law that you do not own any firearms, period, to protect your property. It has nothing to do with insanity in the streets. This is protecting your property. Just like the US, you have the right to bear arms. We all have. But when most time we're using it to go hunting with, okay? So I cannot give you how much longer, but I'll say to you, it'll all be over by the end of this year. I mean, everything will be over by the end of this year. We just got to cope with the BS. They're trying to get more people to freaking wake up more. So, this is where our lockdown will begin again one more time, but they're going to use the smart city idea. Also, they're going to try, and they may end up doing it one more time to the point where we will be the only ones allowed, or sorry, not allowed, but the only ones we may not have internet. We may not have phone lines available Anybody who's got a landline, get yourself a landline back again. Get your landlines up. You'll need it for emergency. I went and got myself another landline, or a landline again. I hooked it up again. Because if by some chance your cell phones go down, your landline's still alive. And make sure you have a landline phone, as in not digital, but a direct phone line. So basically, you can call others with your regular phone, because other people are actually our landowners, or regular telephones. Okay, you ever heard of a telephone before, guys? Start using them again, because they're going to need them. Okay. That was the warning out there. They're basically saying if you want to stay in communication with each other. Now there will be a line available for emergencies. That's going to happen down the road if by some chance there's going to be a power outage. If there's any kind of emergency, there's actually a new phone line coming in. That one is called. Did I download it yet? And this one. What did I do? It's on my other phone. Okay, I have not done it in this one. You can always ask me what the phone line is. I would download if I were you, if for emergencies, but by some chance that you need to contact, like for example, health problems, that sort of thing, emergency. There is actually a specific phone line you can call. Okay, and it's not just a regular common phone, but it will be on your cell phone. You can also download it in your computer. Okay. Yeah, funny how all the telephone booths disappeared. Exactly. Why the telephone booths disappear? Because they don't want you to use them for emergency purposes. Because if you had a real telephone line outside, like why were they taken away? Oh, everybody has cell phones. No, because they're direct lines. You can communicate back and forth, and the government has no control over phone to phone. Landline. That's what they call landlines. They could not control the phones. Okay. They can only control the cell phone, or they can listen in, but they can't listen in on the landline. They tried to before, and you can hear this tick, 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 tick in the background of your regular landline phone. That means that the CIA or the FBI is listening in, right? But you'll still hear heavy breathing somewhere. They're listening in, and not because it's the person on the other side is listening to you. That's what happens. That's the reason why they didn't like it, because for them, it's harder for them to trace or track that line. So they depend on these. Okay. They depend on these so they can track them quicker. That's why there's a tracking system in every cell phone. Why do you think they have these little cards inside? So they can track it. If you what do you think you see these movies, guys, when they take out this little chip and they throw it away? They can't track it because the tracker is in the chip. Okay, you can hide anywhere you want across the world. If you may have that phone, but if you keep that chip, the chip is only just there for keeping all the memory of your phone numbers. But if you already got the phone and you already know the number, you don't need the chip. Okay. So many secret agent movies, and you see on TV, and you always see these guys take the chip out and throw it away, and they keep the phone. Or they'll put the chip back into the phone after to make a contact with someone, whether it's online, you name it, and then they just take it out again. That's what they do. Nothing's wasted. They're going to try to control, the WEF is going to try and control your food and water consumption to make sure you have plenty of water on hand. So buy yourself some extra bottles of water, large bottles, and put them aside in your storage unit in the dark, so then it doesn't stay in the light, because it lasts a lot longer if it's in light. So get yourself about, say, maybe 2 or 3. Those were large plastic ones, and just put them in a storage unit away for emergency purposes. It'd be worth your while. How much are let's see how much you allow to yeah, they're basically what I've heard too, the questions were from, these are people that actually were sending messages. How much are what they say, one person sent me the message, how much you are allowed to eat and sleep. Yeah, they're going to control your eat and sleep. They're going to say when to get up and when to lay down. how often you use your power, your smart. Why do you think the guys, they have a smart meter? Because they actually find out how much you're consuming as far as your heat's concerned. They want to get rid of all the gas lines now. They want to shut off your propane stoves and your natural gas stoves. They want to shut them off. Why? They want to make it illegal. Oh, it says it's not part of the green thing. It's causing. Here's what they did. Oh, they said if you have children and it gives them they can't breathe because of the gas. You don't leave the freaking gas on the stove. Excuse me. Like, shh. Oh, I can't breathe. Light a match. I can't see either. Explode. Thank you very much. Give me a break. Oh, it causes the kids having asthma. That's horse pucky. But that's what they're doing. They're saying, well, they're using a child as an excuse. It causes asthma in the homes if you have gas meters or you have gas stoves. No, it doesn't. It's far safer. Because they want to know how much you're consuming as far as electricity is concerned. That's why that's why Trudeau passed a bill in Ontario that it's illegal to have fireplaces, wood fireplaces. It had nothing to do with about green. You weren't even allowed to burn coal in your barbecues anymore. Everything has to be gas. Now they're saying you can't have gas for your barbecue. So you're not going to be able to cook in your barbecue. Think about it, folks. Think about it. That's what they're trying to do, is to make sure they can control everything you do. What you consume, how hot your foods are, how warm your house is. Like I got friends in South Africa right now that live in South Africa. Their power, everyone's electricity is turned off for a certain length of time at nighttime. It's totally dark. There's no power in their house. None. Africa is already doing it. They're turning off. They've been doing it for, I would say, maybe a good year. Turning off the power between 5 a.m. till maybe 8 or 9 in the morning or 10, 11 in the morning. The power is turned off. No power anywhere. They're in total blackout every day. Blackout. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but unless it's 4 days a month or 4 days a week, but I already know that they've been going through blackout, and I was talking to my friends, and they said yes, they blackened out. They turned up. That's what they're doing. That is how they're beginning this smart city. They're already started in Africa, South Africa, smart citying people. But they're setting up stages, telling you what you can or cannot have. Really? Okay. Another person asked, also, if you have a 15 minutes to walk. Yeah. They also said, you have 50 minutes to walk to your location and home. Yeah, that's whether you walk or take. They're trying to get you not to take your vehicle at all. They're saying, oh, your gasoline is actually causing too much of an environmental problem. They want to take the vehicles off the road by 2025. In Canada, make it illegal to own any vehicles that are gasoline operated. They want them off the road by 2020. That means no more automotive car dealerships. They want to shut them down that consume gas. They want to only allow electric vehicles. That's it. This is Trudeau's bill. This is what Trudeau is doing. He wants to pass that bill. Do you really want that? If you wish to purchase food supplies, limited purchases, yes. Self-checkouts only. You have to have your smart card or ID, and if you don't have that, they won't give you the food. This is what they're doing right now. And this is happening actually in Vancouver and Surrey, and it has been chosen. These two regions have been chosen as well. There's one in Kamloops they're doing a test on, and one in Kelowna. And there's actually, if you go into the City Hall website, you'll see it, which places that they're going to do the smart city in. This is not something that's about fun. They're not sure, folks, you may see a beautiful scenery. Oh, look how wonderful this whole area. You can go between here and have all these amenities. Yeah, these amenities, but guess what? You got to have a card. Okay. They want to know what you can or cannot have. And then they'll tell you one day, oh, you can't have that. I'll tell you why. You go back to the Second World War. Okay. In England, it was illegal to have sugar in your house. Did you know that? In England, if you had sugar in your house, they want to know where it came from. If someone and the government had the right to walk in your home and search in your cupboards, and if they found sugar, you go to jail. Sugar. Okay. If you hoard food in England or in Canada, if you hoard food, 1932, if you hoard food, you go to jail. You don't go to jail for 30 days. You're in jail for life, hoarding food. Okay. That's what had happened in the past. You guys don't know this. Okay. It happened. I've got photographs of old posters that said that was illegal to hoard food, illegal to have sugar, it's illegal to have anything sweet. Chocolate was the first gift to a soldier to have in the battlefield. But people like us, like regular citizens, were not allowed to have chocolates unless a soldier gave one to you. That was a form of trade. Chocolate was not simple, easily to find. All the chocolate factories were only to supply to the military only, not to the citizens. And government officials were also allowed to have chocolate, but not people like you and I, because they saw us as nothing. We're nothing to them. We're little people. We're commoners. Okay. Oh, right. Like I said before, 132 doctors died of the snake bite suddenly in Canada so far. And the mainstream media has not talked about it. They have never mentioned about it yet. There is actually a dedication page of the doctors, for the doctors, on Telegram. There's a dedication page for them. And I also wrote down there, what about the nurses? And there should have been a dedication page for the nurses with the doctors that died of the snake bites. So it's been crazy. How many died suddenly? Yeah. And then, like I said, most of these doctors passed away or in their 30s to about 50. A lot of them never made it past that, their regular numbers. Most of them are in their 30s and 40s. Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, and they said if you exceed, also with your cards, and if you exceed the payment or pay of money for you basically want to know what your carbon footprint is. Okay. And they're serving and monitoring you, and if you refuse, they say you go to jail. You get a ticket first, and you start paying fines. If you don't pay the fines, then you go to jail. They'll take you to jail and hold you in jail, and you don't go to court. You're just taken to jail and left there. Okay, so you're denied access to the grocery store and fuel, and they track in real time. So basically, you won't be able to get any fuel unless you do have that tracking card. But here's the thing, folks: there are mom and pop businesses, okay, that will allow you to get fuel and will allow you to get groceries, because they're not gonna to comply with the government. Forget it. They're not gonna do that. And the government's going to say, oh, well, if you don't comply, then we're going to shut you down. You can't shut them down. That's entirely illegal. Next thing I want to talk about is red wine and the Red Cross. What you guys may not have realized, I've got so much information sent to me regarding this. We were actually, a couple of friends of mine that I newly joined their group, and these guys are fantastic people, wonderful people, very awakened. They actually got a whole bunch of information, brand new release of information that from the Red Cross. The Red Cross's blood has been donated. A lot of excess blood that's not used, they donate it to the winery. Did you know that? And a lot of the wineries are owned by the CABAL. And so basically, there actually are name brands on some of the wine bottles called blood wine. It is real human blood in the red wine. And it's been going on for a long time. They're selling it in stores, and you guys have to look very carefully, because anything that's run by the Rothschild, there's actually one called Rothschild's wine. That's blood wine. There's one called blood wine. There's many name brands. If you go to my Telegram page, you'll see for yourself and read on it. But the Red Cross has been supplying blood. I'm telling you, folks, this is real. It's not a game. I'm not bullshitting you. This is real. Okay. And they're trying to get people, teach people how to drink blood. Basically, because what they're believing is the blood itself, which is called the adrenochrome, and this blood is not just coming from adults, it's coming from children. So they believe they can look younger and live longer. And so this is where part of our adrenochrome comes from. They're trying to if they can't supply you in the bag from the children, then they were selling it right from back, like they had advertisements the back of vehicles all across the U.S. Adrenochrome supply, call in, and a lot of actors, singers, entertainers were buying this stuff and drinking this like it was nothing. Why do you think they look so young? It wasn't just plastic surgery. Most of these people were never had plastic surgery. They were drinking it. They were vampires. That's what they are. Because some of these actors should have been, like, they look like they're in their 30s. These people are in their late 50s now, maybe 60, and they're still looking as if they're in their 30s. Gee, I wonder why. Drinking the wine, drinking the blood. So they're trying to teach the kids. They're trying to teach all of our the Disney is and other organizations are trying to other commercialized productions are trying to teach the kids, or teach the kid and the adult, telling the kids it's okay to drink this, or it's okay to to talk about vampires and blood drinking. And you'll see even there's a TV series called Vampire Academy, and they're saying, oh, it's wonderful to be a vampire, it's wonderful to be that it's a good thing. They don't realize how horrible it is. You got to think about it, folks. This is real. So if you actually like to drink, will say, look at your name brand of the company, where it comes from, and go online, check out my Telegram page and see for yourself. Because if it's not there, I mean, if it's on the screen that that is not blood, then it's fine. But a lot of your red wine actually is made of human blood, and you guys are drinking it. And it's been going on for a long, long time. So it's not something that just overnight. It's been here for a long time. It was just discovered because somebody did I guess took it to the lab trying to find out how come they call it blood red or blood wine. So they decided to go to the lab and they tested it out and they went, holy crap. And especially Red Cross is one of the sponsors of these wineries. Why is the Red Cross one of the sponsors of the wineries? Okay, think about it, folks. Why? Why are they sponsors of the wineries? So, and yet they'll turn around and say, oh, there's not enough blood available. We need more people donate blood. Gee, because they need more wine. And there's also going to be one more thing add on top of that. What if the person got the snake bites and they're donating the blood and it's in that wine? Will you be able to consume it, and will you become one of the snake biters? Ouch. Think about it. There's a lady going out. There's a lady. One woman actually did a commercial advertisement. She goes, "If I were you, stop drinking red wine, gin, vodka, scotch, beer, but no blood." She says, "No wine, no red wine." Now you think. Here's what I said before. If you remember the Catholic religion beliefs, okay, the Catholic religion beliefs was where the priests they will do their presentation. They'll take the red wine, put into the cup, and they'll say, with this blood, this is supposed to be drinking Jesus' blood, and they're drinking the blood. And with this wafer, we're supposed to be Jesus' body. Well, basically, that's called cannibalism. Jesus never said those words. It was actually the Pope that put that into the Bible, had that order put in the Bible, that these are procedures. So basically, your popes, your priests, your pastors, a Catholic, they were drinking blood wine. Cannibalism. Okay. not pretty. I'm not kidding. Yeah. So go on my Telegram page. You'll see for yourself. It's in there. I talk about that and I share that. Have a check. Okay, there is no reason to doubt any of this. To be not unbelieving, but believing. For more shall be revealed to thee. Do it with intention and intuition, of course. Thank you, Thomas. Really appreciate it. So, anyways, I have time. And you know what? I think I need to talk to some people. And if you guys are interested in wanting to call in and ask any questions, you're more than welcome to. I will give you guys a number, 360-566-2875. And let's see here. I'm going to turn on the Skype is turned on. And you guys are more than welcome to call in, 360-566-2875 if you want to ask questions. And or if you want to get a reading, I don't mind to give you guys, if you ask a question, there's no problem. I give that answer for you guys because it's been a while since I've done that for you. And I think it's about time. And I have a friend that calls in from the Earth program, Earth show, but I haven't heard from those guys the last couple of weeks. So hoping that they'll be talking about that too. So we have time. So if you guys are interested in wanting to call in, ask questions, you're more than welcome to. It's not everything is a psychic story or a psychic question, but if you want to call in and ask questions, this is my banner I use all the time in shows. So you'll see part of my banner, but I had this dream, and even the words with my title name inside actually looks like skeletons. There's inside the name, and then I put this in here with a skeleton. Sort of gives you that look. I've had it for years, and it's wonderful to have. It's I'm not scared of being in the dark. To me, I'm used to being in the dark, walk in the woods. You have to trust your senses, and that's what I learned as a kid growing up, being on a farm and or in the woods. You learn to trust your senses, and you guide it around. You learn. My dad taught me how to live in the bush, work in the bush, survive in the bush since I was 10 years old. He said, because if by some chance he ever gets lost, I'll find my way home. And so he taught me that way. And he says, anytime you ever get lost, even if you're in the city, he says, always look to the north, because it's always darker on one side of the road of the street, or a block, or a wall. And if you see the darker side of the wall, that means it's north. I say it's a cloudy sky. You'll know where your north is. Follow your north. And I trusted my father, and he was one of the best guides that my father was ever. My father did a lot of work for the RCMP to help find missing people. He was one of the best trackers I've known. My dad was a hell of a tracker, and he pretty well knows exactly what was going on. He was just as intuitive as I was when he started his work. I was 10. I followed at 10, 11 years old. I followed my father everywhere he went. Anytime he's doing any tracking, come with me, son. You come with me. And one time we were in Carmel, Manitoba. There was a missing boy back in the 60s. There was a missing boy gone missing. And my father, and there's 4 RCMP officers standing in front of my dad. And my dad, he just comes in, drives in, parks his vehicle. He walks up and he can look around. He looks around the trees. This is a forest. Looks around the forest, brushes his hands over the leaves. This is my dad. Brushes hands over the leaves. He goes, the boy's over there. There's actually, it must be a frozen lake over there. He said, if you don't get to the kid within the hour, he'll go through, he'll fall in. And that's exactly what happened. The RCMP didn't listen. Oh. Hang on. My father didn't listen. The RCMP didn't listen to my father. The guys told my dad to go the other way. The cops didn't even bother going to that direction my father told them to. 2 hours later, they decided to go find the boy. He fell through the ice an hour earlier. And then those men could have saved that boy's life, and they didn't, because they were so jealous and envious that my father was even smarter than they were. Anyways, caller 306.
It's Keith from Saskatchewan.
Hey, how's Keith from Saskatchewan?
Well, I'm doing good.
Keith, I'm going to ask you a question, Keith, about the railroad. Let's talk about the railway, because you worked for CPR years back, CNR for years back. Do you believe that that it's so easy for a tanker train to fall over at a standstill?
Not likely, but it could happen. But I have to explain how.
Okay.
Okay. First of all, the last 5 years I was a lead hand carman. I would sit by a computer, send men out to work the trains and whatever. But if, let's say, a tank cars all have on them UN numbers.
Yep.
Okay?
Yeah.
So you have 1203, 1075. Okay, some mean diesel oil, some mean propane, propane gas and stuff like that. Some are sulfur.
Yeah.
Okay, so the car might be carrying liquid sulfur. And every car is placarded. Box cars with dangerous commodities in them, like oils, stuff like that, all have a placard number on them. And the placards have to be clearly shown.
Yeah.
So I get a car that's a box car, and there's oil leaking through the floor. I get a call from the carman. I type that into the computer. It gives me a WMIS thing on it. It gives me a thing, what is in the car. I know exactly what's in the car and the dangerous goods that are in it. I type in the hazmat, what you have to do for if you ingest it or breathe the fumes in. It tells me exactly what the safety procedures are, how dangerous that car is, and whatever. Now, watching that derailment in Ohio there, I didn't see no cleanup crew. I didn't see no emergency response team of any sort. I didn't see any of that.
No.
If this was CNR back when I was working on it, there would be an immediate response. The GO team would be gone. They'd be out there. Bulldozers would be called in to corral that oil or the spill. They would have tank trucks out there sucking it up and taking it to a place where it can be, either recycled or something done with it. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
This is totally different. Another thing is when I was a carman, and if I bad ordered a car, okay, so let's say I'm inspecting a train with another fellow, and I come across wheels. Okay, let's say it has a high flange. I bad order it for a high flange, thin flange, a flat spot on the wheel. A flat spot will cause a bang onto the track, which could possibly crack the track, or cause a derailment. High flange, there's so many dragging equipment, okay? Broken springs, when I bad ordered a car, it had to be immediately sent to the shop or sent to the repair track and repaired before it went on to this destination. When Mr. Mulrooney and Mr. Harper got in power, okay, those two Tories, they changed the laws, meaning that a car can go on to destination in bad order status to be unloaded.
Yep.
Okay, if it's safe to do so at that time. Now, it's not like that. You put a bad order card on the car, that car can travel across Canada 20, 30 times, and it's still in the system. The DO thing is still on the computer, and that it follows that car around, but nobody's repairing the cars like they used to.
Yeah.
Okay, this is what's happening now. So derailments are going to happen. Now, about train falling over, I'm going to call that on short line railways, which this train was on. It was a short line. They do not repair the track like on the main lines, on the big railways. Okay? So what happens is the track, the ties start to rot out. So you can walk down a track and the ties are rotten, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And you can pull out spikes just with your finger, okay? And the plates are missing. the rail bed is starting to sag in certain spots. So let's say they park a line of cars on a rotten ties.
Yeah.
Let's say the weight of the cars might push the rail out. The wheels would sink into the ground and tip over. All right, that's poor maintenance, and that's the one thing you can see. If the train derails when being pulled, that's another thing that could cause cars to dump over.
But the crazy part,
You know
these trains weren't even moving; they were sitting still, and they just fell over. Like it was, they weren't moving. They just like there was all 6 of them fell over at the same time, and but it looked like somebody actually lifted them up. Like it looked like someone was moving them, like it was pushing them over. But yet, when you see them after they're laying on their side, there was nobody there.
Yeah, okay. And another thing, when you're inspecting a train,
yeah,
those tops on those tank cars, okay, they have bolts on them, okay, and you go up there. And you had to make sure every bolt was tight.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what I'm saying? So they have 8 bolts. You had to make every nut was tight on those cars, on that lid. There was no excuse for having loose bolts on a tank car.
No.
And I climbed many a tank car in an inspection to tighten those bolts. You ever heard of the National Transportation Agency?
Yes, I've heard
the
them.
NTA?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Well, they used to come along every few months and inspect cars in the yard. So they would go down in the yard and they would inspect the cars. And if they found defects that we missed, we were held into the office, given a lot of heck, and it was just a different railway when I was working. And then the short lines come in because of Mulrooney.
Yeah.
The right to move goods, and they're in Ontario, the CNR. There was a manager that took over the CNR, and he replaced good rail with Chinese rail.
Okay. Yeah.
The CN was told, because they had so many rail breaks in Ontario, that they were told they could only go 30 mile an hour over that railway. Now, that was Chinese steel. So you could not, because of the poor quality of steel, they couldn't go faster than 30 mile an hour. And they actually stopped the passenger service from Winnipeg to Toronto. It couldn't go over that rail. And so you only can go from Winnipeg to Vancouver and back to Winnipeg. You had to fly to Toronto and then take the rail wherever else you might want to go. But as soon as the new manager took over, he replaced all that rail with Algoma Central Rail, okay, and the good stuff from made in Canada, and he replaced it all. Chinese metal is not good.
No, it has no nickel in it.
Whatever.
Yeah, Chinese metal actually has no nickel in it.
Yeah, well, nickel and
they have the same problem with that.
Iron,
the same material.
It's something.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, there's another thing that causes derailments is burnt hot boxes, they call them, and that's a defect in your bearing. So you'd get a hot bearing, and it would cause smoke. It would cause fire in the grease in the thing because you had a failure in your bearing, and it would immediately get hot. They had hot box detectors, right?
Yeah.
And they would catch the heat sense from that bearing. But if it was between detectors, and a bearing can fail really quick, and the bearing would break off, and the train would go on the ground. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Loose backing rings on the wheels. I could go on.
We're good. We're good on that part. But I mean, the thing is that we're trying to look for. I mean, everybody's looking for or as a resolution to find out, okay, why the trains fall over. Well, there is no crash. Like the train didn't crash. It was like in East Palestine, the train didn't crash. It was there, and there's a crossroads because there's people actually recording it. They were waiting for the train. The train was not even moving; it was sitting still. And there was one tanker right there where the crossroad was, where you cross over with your vehicles. And but further ahead, about two or three tankers over, they were sitting there. Nothing happened. All of a sudden, there was a rumble under the train, like a rumble under, like boom, you know. The next thing you know, they were rocking back and forth. They rocked back and forth, and they fell over. I got the video. Then it fell over. I mean, there were 6 or 7 or 8 tankers fell over.
Okay. Another thing is okay. So poor rail maintenance. Okay. For instance, it's a short line rail, so they didn't really maintain that rail.
Yeah.
And one track could be lower than the other track. Okay, causing the weight of the car. Okay, on top of the rail, which would be the tank car would be top heavy. It would cause that motion, you know, back and forth with the springs.
Yeah.
And if you had broken springs on there, that wouldn't help, and that car would roll over into the ditch or on its side. And if the lids were not bolted down, the liquid inside would dump out.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wouldn't know sabotage. Well, the sabotage could be caused. Now I would have had to been there to look at the rail, at the cars.
Yeah.
Because let's say there was some type of hydraulic jack placed within the truck side or on the bolster and the side and the car. So let's say it was radio controlled. It could push up the one car, push up the side of the one side of the car, causing it to roll over.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if it's sabotage. You would have to, you know, we're talking about BlackRock here, who own that.
Yes. BlackRock owns it. Yes.
So if they want people to get out of their houses and into small cities, that could happen, and it could be sabotage. But I would have to be the inspector to inspect it, to come up with that. I'd have to see it with my own eyes.
Maybe we're going to have to get President Trump to come and call you and ask you to come down to East Palestine, and you can do the investigation.
Well, I'm not well educated, but I do know my inspections in rail. I used to look after air brakes.
Yeah.
Remember that train accident in Quebec where the cars rolled backwards?
Yeah, I remember that one because
what happened there.
One of my hang on that one, my friend. A lady friend of mine knows about that one because she lived in that same area where that train crashed. Yeah. She told me all.
You know what happened? I'm going to give you the scenario.
Yeah.
First of all, air brakes.
Yes.
So you got a train. It has 100 pounds of air.
Yeah.
Okay. Every air tank is 100 pounds on every car.
Yeah.
Independent braking on each car, we'll call that.
Yeah.
Okay. To set up your brakes, you release air out of the main train line. Okay?
Yeah.
The air, now you have portions on that train. There's a block with 2 portions on it and valves and all sorts of little neat gadgets. And what happens is the air wants to equalize the main train line, and the air is from the reservoir on each car is rushed through the block and goes and is the air that was supposed to go to the main train line goes to the piston, pushing out the piston. So the guy gives a 50-pound release. 50 pounds of air goes down and into that piston and sets up your brakes. Okay?
Yep.
You follow me?
Yep.
Okay. When you throw it into emergency, what happens is all the air from the reservoir goes immediately to the piston and the brake set up. There's no more air in the main train line. That's gone.
Yep.
And the brakes remain set up. You have to bleed off each car, or you have to attach a unit. You follow me? You have to attach an engine to the train
Yep.
and start pumping air down the main train line, and the train line starts pumping up, and it equalizes the air, and the brakes pump off. We call that. Well, you understand what I'm saying so far?
Yeah, but I just to short.
So then you have a brake release.
Okay.
At that place, what happened was the train went up the hill.
Yeah.
Right? The engineer, he was alone. He pulled into the siding. Then he set up his brakes, right? Now, on a 100-car train, he has to tie down. So he gives a 50-pound setup, right? He has to tie down the unit with a handbrake, and 10 cars' handbrakes have to be tied down tight. All right? The brakes are set up. The train is put to bed. Okay? Now, the second unit caught fire.
Yeah.
The hogger, he got a cab and went to a motel and went to bed, right?
Yeah, one guy apparently. Well, apparently they said the engineer was. They said the engineer was drunk. That's what they said. This is what they were saying. They accused the engineer of being drunk. This is what they said, because they wanted to put a blame on him, because a lot of lives were lost in that fire from the train crash. Yeah.
Well, what happened was the fire department come along, right?
Yeah.
And an official from the railway was there that didn't understand handbrakes and whatever.
Yeah.
But they had to get the cars, the tank cars, away from the train.
Yeah.
So someone pulled the pin, right? And of course, the train would have, as soon as the air hose broke, it would have went into emergency. So now they said there was no air on any of the cars. Okay, listen to me. So someone had to go down that train and bleed off every car. So they rolled the cars away from the train, tied on one or two handbrakes, got it to stop, right?
Yeah.
But you got a lot of weight on those two handbrakes now, or three handbrakes. Now everything's okay. The firemen leave. The engineer says, "Do you want me to go and check the train?" They said, no, it's all been handled. Well, next thing you know, the weight of that train starts rolling down the hill and picks up speed and goes into town, and hence the fire. As I said, I worked on handbrakes. I worked on braking systems, on replaced pistons, did COT&Ss. I mean, it's a complicated system, and it works. When I listen to people with no knowledge talking about trains, they should keep their mouths shut.
Well, the lady that I know, the person that I know that told me the story herself personally, because she was there when it happened. They're actually outside of a cafe, sitting on the chair, watching all of the crash happen, right in front of their eyes. And but there was also one guy that was sitting with her that worked for the railroad that actually was on a day off and explained the story. Like, said to her, like, because everybody's actually saying, well, how come this happened? There's no, they would, all the years they've had the railroad go through that area, they've never ever had an accident. So they're believing they're trying to make a fault of the engineer, but to me, I think there was something. Somebody was sabotaging it.
He was woken up by a phone call.
Yes.
So there's no way he was drunk. Okay, he had booked rest. He put his train to bed. Someone pulled the pin on the knuckle.
Yeah.
Because when the engineer went back to get his units, they were still where they were.
It was brought out to this
hill.
field
That
in
train
Stanislaus County,
down the hill
California.
with no units on.
Yeah.
That has been proven, and it was said on the news. So someone pulled the pin between the cars and the engines, and fire department people cannot run an engine. So someone pulled the pin, and we're told how to do it. Put the train in the hole. Had to bleed off all those cars, undo the handbrakes, and then roll the cars away from that burning unit and tie them up again. Put the fire out, shut off the unit, and that's where the expert from the railway, from the yard office, was there and did that, or someone. But whoever did the bleeding off of the train and whatever, they don't want to blame certain people, because it would cost a lot of money for a certain town. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. Keith, hang on.
This is what it's all about.
Okay, Keith, hang on to that thought, because I want to play something here. I'm not sure you'll be able to hear it, but I'm going to play this right now. This is actually, I'm playing actually right now another video of a lady who was actually, she's actually recorded what is going on in California. I was brought out here to this field in Stanislaus County, California. Her name is Shannon Townsend. This is what she said.
Yeah, and this is the center of like the heartland of the nut industry, the almond industry, the pecan, or not pecans, I'm sorry, almond, walnut, cattle. There's not a lot out here, folks. And yesterday we were at a gathering and we were alerted by another rancher that the railroad company, some company, but nobody knows which company this is, has brought in hundreds of these railroad cars. And you can just see the line of them here. Let me see it, make sure I'm getting it in the shot. Sorry. Getting this in the shot. Now, on the cars, they say odorless liquid petroleum gas. Now, they are loaded. They're riding low on their axles. They're double and triple deep on this switchback. And this is important because these ranchers, this is unprecedented in this area. None of them, they're like, what the hell is this? Why are they bringing this into the, heart of nowhere? I mean, unless you own land here or you're in the know-how, you don't know that this is here right now. And like I said, this is just the end of this line. I'll make sure I'm getting these cars in here. It goes on. It was brought out to this field.
So basically, what she's pointing out is where she came out.
That there's loaded tank cars there.
Yeah.
Okay, first of all, she'd have to go look at the springs. Now, if the springs are loose, meaning that they're up, they're empty tank cars. If the springs are down tight, and you know how when you push, you take your finger and take a light spring and you squeeze it together, how the coils get tight.
Yeah.
That's how you'll know if that. Now, what's in the car will be on the placards. Okay.
Yeah.
So there has to be a UN number on it. Okay. And you would have to look up, if you go into Google, let's say, and type in UN, dangerous good UN numbers, they'll show you like 1203. Some of those cars are probably carrying hydrous ammonia, different things. But about the cars being on the siding by the railway track, railways store cars everywhere. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We have tank cars that are stored just about a mile out of town sometimes. It depends where these cars are going and what they want to do with them. So because people who do not know the railway and how they run. Now, I don't know who runs that line. Okay.
Yeah.
What outfit? But if it's a big railway, if it's a big ownership, they're probably storing their tank cars there until they have a use for them. My suspicion is that these are empty tank cars being stored. That's my suspicion. I'm not there. I can't see. She might say, "Oh, they're low," but she's not really looking at the springs. And then the springs will be tight. The coils will be close together, very close. So, like I said, you have to be there. Another thing to tell you if it's a load or not, the placard, when it's a load, it's one way. As soon as they empty that car, they take that placard, turn it over, and it's classed as an empty. And I think there's empty on the other side, and the number and the UN number of the stuff that was in it. Am I helping you, Andy?
Yeah, you have. I really appreciate your help in that, Keith, because that's what everybody's questioning. Like, like regarding that, I mean, we got discussing one particular train, but there are so many trains that are falling over now, not just one. This is actually now, they're looking at 13 or 14 of them now that have crashed, all in a matter of about 2 or 3 days apart. I mean, like, what's going on,
and
right?
You got to remember, you got nuts out there, okay? Now, what's going to happen?
Yeah, nuts on the train.
I'm going to tell you what's gonna, if they find it to be sabotage, okay?
Yeah.
Antiva, BLM, one of these terrorist organizations, and I'm using that word right, they start doing bad stuff to the rail, okay? What's going to happen is...
No, I'm not. I would not say BLM that would do this stuff to the rail. There's other people's agendas.
Antiva.
No, I wouldn't even say Antifa either. No, I wouldn't say Antifa either. There's people above them. The Antifa people are just little workers that get paid $15 an hour to protest and cause trouble.
Yeah. Okay. Let me finish here, because what's going to happen is all of a sudden, okay, the railway has to hire guards.
Yes.
All right. Now you're going to have people sitting at bridges. So they'll build a little shack there. And what you do is you sit there. If anybody comes around that bridge, you tell them to go away. If they don't go away, you contact the police. They'll be sitting in the middle of nowhere. And this will push the rail costs way out of proportion.
Okay. Keith, I just got a emergency message. The largest oil refinery in the United States is on fire right now as we speak. 2 people were injured in a severe fire at the BP Husky Toledo refinery in Oregon and Ohio, owned by the British Petroleum.
Oh yeah.
Like, oh my God! Now
this is sabotage.
Yeah.
This is beyond me. I would never have believed that whatever. But don't forget, we've been bringing people into the United States, right?
Yeah.
They got China has people in the United States. They got all sorts of sleeper cells there. So, yeah, we're in a lot of baloney right now.
You think?
Well, I was going to say shit, but I don't think that's allowed.
Oh.
You know.
Well, I really appreciate you calling in, Keith. I really do.
Now we're talking. Holy Jesus! I can't believe this. Now we're talking about sleeper cells, and this is beyond me.
Yeah.
I was just a Carmen inspector, and I did my job to my best ability, and I did it well.
Good. Yeah, just take great pride in whatever you had done.
If you have any questions, let me know.
I will. Take care. Thank you, Keith, for calling in. I really appreciate you giving us a bit of an idea how trains work, because a lot of people need to know, because I mean they have no idea. So you gave some people really great knowledge, so now they can take that with them and say, okay, here's what he said, and gives people an idea to say, okay, now we know why. Let's check this out.
Yeah. So now we, okay, keep your eyes open, people. For anybody not working on the railway, is not wearing a hard hat. If you see ordinary people around cops, phone the police. Okay,
Yeah, phone the cops. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Keith. Thank you for calling in. This guy is so full of knowledge. I'm always blown away when he calls in. He's got some really great stuff. Okay, it says Nicole says, I was interested to know what your friend knows about that, which is the abandoned cars in San Francisco, train unknown who it belongs to, labeled with the chemicals it contains. Well, if you want to get it, area code 408.
Hey there, Derek. It's Mick in Sacramento, California.
Hey, Mick. How's it going, my friend?
It's going quite well, thank you.
You okay?
Yeah, it's been a few weeks since we talked last.
Yeah.
And a lot of crazy things going on, like the conversation you were having with Keith and the derailment. I knew that thing was fishy the moment it was reported. I looked at that and I went, oh,
you think it's fishy?
Yeah. Like, okay, and so it begins again, and they're not even good at backpedaling on it.
No,
Oh,
not at all.
God. I could see why Biden doesn't want to have anything to do with this. He's not going to show up. He's like,
no. Well, they said he never showed up. He never showed up in any locations. Only Trump did. In fact, they said that Trump actually donated money and food and whatever's needed for the area in Palestine, East Palestine. He actually donated by his own pocket money, donations to help people out, whatever they need for emergency purposes. He was there. In fact, here's the crazy part. There's a video of Donald Trump, President Trump, walking into McDonald's. Okay. He walked into McDonald's and he was there to greet the people. They're in total shock. And he would say, well, what do you need? I'll order for you guys. What do you need? There was burgers and stuff coming out of the yin yang. And I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute here. I remember a couple of years back, you wouldn't be eating those things because there was always rumors about human in it. And then I realized after, went, oh, right. Those guys got busted. They're gone. So now it's real beef. And so now he was there and the people were there. He was actually even signing hats. People are actually, he wasn't handing out hats. People are handing their hats to autograph. So one of the bodyguards had to have a pen available, and oh, you got a pen? And he was autographing their hats for them. It was funny. It was so cool. One guy who was a veteran, was wearing a vet's hat, and he handed his hat over to Trump and asked him to autograph his hat for him. That was so cool when recorded. Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, well, it's good that somebody with a high profile went out there to bring some notice to this.
Oh yeah,
what is going? Yeah.
So and yet,
be a while
I mean,
get to the bottom.
And yet here, like I said before earlier tonight, a lot of our listeners, some of our listeners that came in late, Joy Behar from The View, okay, from the TV series The View, she made a comment, a really negative comment. She said, and these are her words, says that East Palestine got what they deserved because they voted for Trump. Are you kidding me? She said that in her own words. Like,
what a heartless thing to say.
Yeah, it's heartless. She should be boycotted off the show, and she should do a public apology. How cruel. That, I mean, give me a break. You may be rich and all, but you're nothing but a bitch. Like that was the worst I've ever seen. And I mean, like you said, heartless. That's so, I mean, whether they voted for him or not, the fact is they don't deserve, those people in East Palestine did not deserve to be attacked by her mouth. You know?
No. Well, I sure hope that Whoopi Goldberg took her to task over that.
Oh, they're
Because,
best buds. They're best buds. I don't think she'll be they'll get rid of her. I think they'll both walk out together. I remember saying Whoopi Goldberg said if Trump becomes re-elected as president, that she'll leave the United States. And I said, yeah, she'll be heading to Gitmo.
Oh my, yeah. Well, the thing that has been on my mind a lot lately are the objects being shot out of the sky. And I just wanted to come on to let everyone know through my sources, they are not extraterrestrial of any kind. They are definitely human-made. They're definitely part of the agenda.
Yeah.
And that's only the beginning, you know, and they decided.
And they're not even Chinese, folks. They're not China-made.
No.
They're not China-made. They're just distractions. I have a friend of mine that did a balloon. He actually did a white balloon. And he wrote on the balloon, "Don't shoot at me." And you float in this balloon, and he's actually like, "Don't shoot us! Like, don't shoot at us! Like, we're okay, you know." Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I think also part of the agenda is just to gauge the public's response to this. And the fact that there has been little to no real uproar about it pretty much is a barometer for them to go ahead and do whatever other nefarious things, because they realize the people that they're dealing with really are clueless and really could care less and wouldn't know the difference between an extraterrestrial craft over, you know, a cabal-controlled craft or even an agenda. So yeah, humans, especially in the United States, are ripe for the taking at this point, except for us that are trying to keep people alerted and informed, like yourself and myself.
Yeah, they're actually suspecting the Air Force are suspecting that works for Bidan. They're actually thinking that actually was maybe Mork's ship that was flying, and they shot it down, crashed it. So Mork from Ork, you remember that white egg when it fell and crashed and opened up, and there he was coming out.
I'm surprised we haven't seen more of those memes like that. I guess that was a generation ago.
Yeah,
you know?
Mork from Ork. Yeah, he was actually playing Mork from Ork, and he actually had a giant white egg that fell and it crashed landed. I think they shot down another egg.
Hey, do you remember back in the 60s, and I believe this was also a test and a barometer of the general public's opinion of UFOs and aliens. Do you remember the show with Ray Walston, My Favorite Martian?
Yes, I used to watch it all the time.
Yeah, me too. I love that.
Yeah,
as a kid growing up in the 60s.
You'll see it on YouTube now. They'll play the shows like the whole series on YouTube.
Really?
Yeah, My Favorite Martian, that was on YouTube, as well as My Favorite Martian's also on Tubi, TUBI. The whole series.
Well, I got into a conversation with a friend recently, and I said the best allegorical movie about human interaction with extraterrestrials still to this day is the 1951 Michael Rennie, Patricia Neal, The Day the Earth
Stood Still. Yeah.
And
if
that wasn't a warning and a wake-up call, especially for 1951, because only 1 year later is the UFO flap over Washington, D.C., which they could not cover up and they could not hide. They just had to suck it up and go, we have no idea. And Truman, he was losing his mind over this. Like, how can these things happen over the nation's capital? It's like, because you are dealing with things that you really have no idea about, and we are warning you.
They also did a repeat of the movie The Day the Earth Stood Still with Keanu Reeves. he played the same kind of character.
Right.
Yeah, he played that again. Was repeat.
Yeah.
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 A little slightly different, but it still had the
best
effects.
Oh, definitely. You know,
Yeah.
and the fact that Michael Rennie in the original, you know, he basically didn't mince words. He said, and if you people think that you're going to come and leave your planet and spread this out there, I'm leaving Gort here. And if you step out of line, we'll disintegrate you. And I was just like, ooh, I understood that as a child watching that movie. And it was even more chilling to see it as an adult. So, yeah. So that's
Do you remember? I'm going to go a little bit further back. Let's see. It probably was on at the same time as that show. Do you remember the TV series called My Mother the Car?
Yes, I do. Jerry Van Dyke.
Yeah, Jerry Van Dyke. And I remember I know the whole.
Ray.
Yeah, the song goes. She's 1928 Porter. That's my mother dear. If only she knew how much I do love her. You know, I knew that song by heart. But it's actually what it was. It was supposed to be the story about a young man whose mother passed away, and she owned this car. It's an old antique T-Bird, and Model A. And after she died, and he missed his mom a great deal. The next thing you know, he turned on the radio, and his mother's talking through the radio back to him. So she possessed the car.
Who the voice of the car was?
I don't know. I don't remember who it was. It's not Angela Lansbury. It's somebody else.
Well, you're very close, and I don't know why I still remember this. Ann Southern.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Ann Southern. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Angela Lansbury also did a lot of voiceovers and a lot of shows and stuff besides just being an actress. You know, so.
See, that's the groovy thing about you and I being in our mid to late 60s is we had great movies, great television, great music, and we still get to impart all that knowledge to our children and our grandchildren. And there are a lot of gems in all that.
Well, there were the fun part. I mean, you enjoyed the show, but you participated in something thinking it was real, and yet those are all black and whites. They weren't color at the time, and so you believed it was real because you're discovering television, you're discovering TV. Plus, we also didn't have the full 24/7 TV programming. Where I lived, we only had it from say 12 noon until 6 p.m. or after 6 p.m. After the news was over, the whole thing turned off. And then the next thing you got the big Indian screen. That's it for the next little while. Wait till the next day. On Saturdays, they would have a couple of cartoons for the kids, which was the Beatles, cartoon Beatles, back in 64, 65, where the Beatles came out in cartoon. And that's pretty well what I've seen. And then some guy called Slappy the Clown, and he would come on TV and do his pantomime, talk about whatever as a clown on television. He was originally was from Manitoba. That was it. And anything else on top of that. And then Lawrence Welk came through. Lawrence Welk and Don Messer, Jubilee. I was in Canada. Pretty well. The oldies but the goodies. That's pretty well. Yeah, you got a lot of music, a few musicals. And then they would turn to doing auctions on TV. Like you would actually auction to buy. They would do some sort of raise money program for, I'm not sure what it was, but they would do a 24 hours straight raising money for some sort of organization. And so my mother would phone in, she'd wait for that certain number or that item to come up, and they'd auction that to buy it. And then next thing you know, it shows up at her door. So that's back in the 60s, guys, I would say 67, 68.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that stood out and still to this day was the day after John F. Kennedy was assassinated on Friday, November 22nd, 1963, and I was 9 years old. And I understood the severity. All you had to do is look around at all the adults and see the TV. But the next day is what bummed me most. There were no cartoons. I'm like, it's Saturday. Where are the cartoons? I just couldn't understand how they could preempt it. But in hindsight, it's like, yeah.
I'm going to shock you. I want to shock you right now, my friend. John F. Kennedy Sr., President Kennedy, did not die. He had a clone that took his place going in, that was in that limousine. The clone took the hit.
Wow, and that makes sense.
Guess who the assassin was?
Who was the assassin?
The President of the United States, Bidan.
Oh, what, Lyndon B. Johnson?
No, Bidan. JB.
Who?
JB. Biden.
Wow.
He was the hitman.
Oh, at that time. Really?
Yes.
And, yeah, because he was a young man.
Yes, he was.
Like a young man.
He was that guy.
He was 80.
He was that guy. He was the one that did the shooting. Yeah. Now it's coming forward, folks. It's coming forward, and people are going to find this out. They're going to go like, "No way, he's our president." Well, I got the information from a higher source. So, folks, these are real, true. And people can say, "Well, prove it." You're going to see it coming. I mean, I already knew about this a long time ago. I got photographs and information that showed me the documents, copies of it. But I'm only allowed to say so much because eventually it will come forward. But that's all I can say so far. I just had to shock you.
Oh, yeah. Well, he knew that they were coming for him when he told, the people around him, he goes, "Yeah, I'm going to do disclosure. Me and Khrushchev folks, we're going to do disclosure." And they're like, "No, you're not." Really? No, really. I got to tell the public. About, ETs, spacecraft, the whole bit. And they're like, over your dead body. And then once you realize, they will take me out before they let me do disclosure.
Yeah.
And the rest, as they say, is history.
Yeah, definitely.
Hey, Derrick, well, thank you so much. I'm glad we got to chat. It's wonderful to still have you giving us truth, giving us information against all odds. Good to have you back on YouTube.
Yes.
Both of us will not be silenced, will not be stopped, because we came here to do something. We came here to enlighten. We came here to educate. We came here to give our services. And we are far from done, my friend. So until the next time, enjoy life.
Yeah, take care, my friend. We'll talk to you later.
You got it. All right. Good night, Derrick.
Night. Okay. Well, folks, I'm hoping I'm able to help you guys, give you some information what's coming up or what has been going on this last week. I will further, and if you want to find me, folks, I'm found in Telegram. If you want to find me in Telegram, I have a page called True North Strong and Free. I'm on True North Strong and Free. That is it's in capital letters. You'll find me on Telegram. Also, if you want to, join up as a friend, download the app on Telegram. If you haven't done it, do it. You're going to get better information what's going on. There's a lot of great people out there that are actually working with our president. I'm not American. I'm a Canadian citizen, but I feel like I should be an American too, as well, because I like to help out from both sides of the world. But I know very well what President Trump has been doing for everybody in our country here in Canada. And like I said, what I want to bring up one more thing before I forget, folks. Please understand this. Do not be afraid what's going to happen. Everything I've been sharing with you, all this news, these are what you call the lineups of, this is what the people or the World Economic Summit or Forum's been trying to do. They've been trying to scare people. And I want to warn you guys ahead of time, be prepared that you don't need to be controlled. Learn to stand up for yourself more and don't follow their system, just say no. And the more you stand up against them, the more afraid they'll back down, because this is what we're trying to get you to do, is learn to stand up for yourself. I mean, we do stand up for ourselves. Americans do a lot. I mean, they follow the faith of stand for their rights. But us Canadians, what we have a tendency of doing, being so passive And we need to stop being passive because we keep on saying sorry, sorry all the time. And I think enough is enough. We need to stand up for ourselves even more. Gail sent me a letter. Oh yeah, you know what, Gail? I'm going to share that with everybody tonight. Gail sent me a letter. In his letter from one of the guys from Coots in Alberta border, who is now in jail. One of the guys who's in jail. I want to share this with everybody because you guys need to know this before we shut down. Gail gave me this letter, and his name, the guy who's actually in prison right now, is Tony Olenek. Now, he's one of the guys that actually was part of the protesting. Now, apparently, what I understood, there's actually 4 or 5 other men that are in prison, and they were set up by the RCMP. They put, what I understand the story, the RCMP put firearms, illegal firearms, in one of the guy's vehicles and planted them, basically making them as if actually they're evil. And so basically, here's what Tony had written to Gail, and I'm going to share this with all you listeners. Please share this. I'm going to actually have this letter put on my page after, on Facebook as well as on Telegram, and you guys can please share this with everyone. Everyone needs to know this, but on the Freedom Convoy, and they're actually on the top letter of the letter, it says Freedom Convoy, the red heart says honk honk. So what Tony wrote, he said, "Dear Gail, hello, thank you so much for sending your support and prayers. I am very grateful and proud to serve God and all the amazing patriots out there like yourself during this historic time in our history. I love the country and all Canadians, and being a part of the Freedom Convoy was the greatest thing I've ever participated in seeing how it united so many people from areas the world under. God's love and how it brought so much hope in time full of disparity and uncertainty was truly remarkable. What an amazing time to be alive. I am strong spiritual because of all of the love being shared. I have no regrets from my time at Coots," he's talking about Alberta, "and know in my heart that God being my witness that we did not, capital letters, not plan to murder RCMP. I stood for the people of this great nation, and I will continue to stand and defend their God-given rights and freedoms until the day I die, especially our children as they deserve a chance to have a bright future filled with love." Hang on a second, not done yet. "Filled with love and prosperity instead of one filled with agony and tyranny. I will say for the short period time, I knew my 3 other co-accused men, and that they all have hearts of gold and the very best intention for the people. They are true, real fathers who are protecting their children and want the best for everyone. Myself and one co-accused was arrested at Coots while peacefully filming on our phones and standing at the front of the protest crowd. We were surrounded by heavily armed militarized police." And I'm talking, and I know what that means, militarized, because basically they're fully armed. It means they're wearing SWAT suits and they're wearing sniper rifles. Carrying that, I've seen that happen. We were unarmed, and we did not accuse any, or sorry, he wrote this letter. "Do not accuse any incidents, cause any incidents to even ever out our arrest for mischief, and initially that means they never causing him any mischief. A few hours later, the third guy was sick with the flu and asleep in the trailer parked blocks away from the protest site. He was suddenly awoken and taken, I think and something to come out. He came out on UNA med. I think it's probably got meds, and shocked to be free to freeze with dozens of Gestapos. I don't understand that part. It's kind of mixed. Oh, I mean RCMP pointing their AR-15 rifles directly at him. Oh, well, that makes sense. So he was unarmed, and they pointed their AR-15s directly at him. He did not cause any incidents either to warrant his mischief charge. Warrant his mischief charge as well. The next day, while the fourth guy was in Calgary, driving to work, he was suddenly surrounded and arrested by the SWAT team. He lives okay, this needs to be typed out, like read carefully. The next day, while the fourth guy was in Calgary driving to work, he was suddenly surrounded and arrested by the SWAT. Yeah, he live streamed. Okay, he live streamed, recorded his arrest to the Facebook page. We have the RCMP admitting to vandalizing. Oh, they admitted to vandalizing other protesters. 3 machines that were parked. It looks like machines, like something like that. They were parked miles from Coots, even on private farmland. Rebel News did a report on this blatant act of treason, and this needs to be shared. I believe the RCMP purposely destroyed those machines, breaking the something to try and provoke us peaceful protesters into becoming I don't understand that part. Unpeaceful? I could be wrong. Unperceived or combative. I think they're saying, like, okay, becoming unperceived or combative. So then they could use our negative actions against us for reasons to shut down the protest. Now, ever though people were upset, emotions were high, but still I never witnessed or heard of any protesters acting out in a physical threatening way. Instead, we united even stronger and poured out ever more love and joy. I believe the RCMP, being pressured by the government to find any cause to shut down the protest, is when they decided to start unjustly arresting us on petty yet bogus charges of mischief. It wasn't until after we were in custody is when they hit us with the ever more outrageous charges of weapons for a dangerous purpose and conspiracy to murder RCMP. This was 100% politically motivated, as well as our bail being denied by a corrupt judge based on this verdict that our ideology was a threat to society. We are not terrorists or extremists, and if the government wanted to find those, they should look in the mirror. We want peace, love and life, not a war. That's why it's important to keep pounding the pavement and getting the word out about what is really going on in the world. We must continue to unite under love and light and push back against the system of control. Everything and everyone will be affected by this atom, as those who fail to learn from history are condemned to repeat it. Thank you again for your love and support. God bless you and your loved ones, and may you forever be filled with peace, love, and joy. With sincere love and gratitude, Tony Olniak. P.S. If you have access to Instagram or know others that do, please share and follow following page Tony-01911, as I posted call my videos from my time at Coots. The lost videos I posted was minutes before I was arrested. Please share my story to everyone. Thank you. Take care, fellow freedom warrior. Wow. Tony, buddy, we are going to help you with that, my friend. I'm going to save this, and I'm going to put this to a special file hidden away so others don't see it. So, because we will put this out for you, my friend. Yeah. This is what happens. Where I know what it's like to be in prison. I was sent to prison in federal penitentiary for I wasn't the guy that should have got arrested, but someone used me to to cover their rear end. Anyways, I got out eventually. Knew I was innocent, but I know what it's like to be there. And but what I want to point out, this young man in his writings, and I already know because there's people telling me themselves earlier that these men were innocent and the police were actually totally corrupt. Well, let me tell you this right now, folks. What you may not know, that letter is perfect. It's absolutely wonderful. I'm glad that I shared this with you guys. Those who want to watch, please share this whole video with others, and that Tony Olniak is not forgotten. But also, too, I will say this. I'll put this on my Telegram page for others to see it. Also, I'll make copies of it and share with others. Everybody needs to know this, that know the truth. I might have to retype it out, like put into a typing version so people can actually read the words, because it's very difficult to read those written kind of words, ways written it. So I'll transcribe it to what it should look like. But also, or someone can. Either way, if I don't, someone else could. Maybe Gail can do it. Transcribe into a print. But also, this is the thing. We already know the real Trudeau is gone. Okay. But before that Trudeau is taken away, we have corrupt RCMP. Very bad. There's bad ones in Alberta. There's horrible bad ones in there, and they shouldn't have actually gone after these guys whatsoever. None whatsoever, especially in Coots. But they actually, I've had people tell me that it was a setup, that they were planted there. There were witnesses that actually watched them put the firearms in there. Okay, that they watched the RCMP put the firearms inside, and they were putting in firearms that don't even exist in this country, right? So, but they're making it look as though I was, and the fact is they try to go after Pastor, the pastor who actually was prayed. He was praying for everybody there, and they want to put him behind bars and life in two. They want to put, okay. I saw Brenda Locke step down. Not sure if it is the correct spelling. Brenda Locke, yeah, she stepped down because she's under investigation. She actually was arrested, guys. She didn't step down. She was actually arrested. They took her away. She's bye-bye. Brenda Locke's gone. She's been taken away. She's in prison right now. So she'll be tried under military tribunal. Now, those RCMP that are corrupt, the ones that planted the firearms, The investigation will be ongoing, and I most likely there will be special forces that will come in. Yeah, Arthur Pawlowski, thank you very much. Arthur Pawlowski, they're trying to go after him too and have him charged with the same type of charge as the rest of the four. Like they think that he's the leader. Like they're making up all kinds of crap. And Arthur Pawlowski actually was tortured in Edmonton. He went through hell in prison. They locked him up, no clothes on, in a cold winter season. I talked about this at the time when he was stuck in there. When he got out, he damn near froze to death. He was ready to die because he had no clothes on, nothing. He was actually in a steel box, and they had left him there for 2-3 days. He never got fed. Like it was horrible. He was treated like he was a garbage. Apparently the premier, that would be Jason Kenney, who is gone too. He was arrested for crimes against humanity, but he was the one that ordered Plotsky to be actually put into maximum prison without no court. Like he was directly taken to maximum prison without going to court. He was never charged. He took maximum prison, and he actually was in prison with the lifers. Okay, and then the bulls, we call the guards, wanted them to kill him. And when the inmates found out, they actually approached him and asked him why they want him dead. And he said because he was telling the truth about the protest and the. What happened was that the inmates were on his side, and they refused to kill him, and that pissed off Jason Kenney. That's why Kenny's gone. So Kenney was taken away. So, folks, this is all out the door. Our country is just as corrupt as any other country. We've got premiers that are so corrupt, horribly corrupt. Now all of a sudden they're all gone. Gee, I wonder why. Maybe because they're gone bye-bye. So anyways, if you can actually have, if you can transcribe that into a print and like have the letter and then transcribe that, so then people can actually see that, we can share that around with everybody in Facebook, and I'll put it on my True North Strong and Free page, in the Facebook page, as well as my cat hair. I got cats in my house, and something a mouthful of cat hair. And we can put it on my True North Strong and Free page on my Facebook, but also we'll put it on my Telegram page, and I'll pass it around to other people's pages that actually will pick it up. They will, because they're very strongly supportive of this too. Okay. What else to talk about before we're finished for the night? I would say we're good, but guys, I want to thank you so much. God's on your side. God's on my side. And we are trying our darndest to make sure that we still are survivors. We will always survive. We'll always live out. We're going to outlive the baddies. And like I tell people, this is a show. This is to get your attention. They just want you to wake up. And if anybody who's in this chat room, or anybody, like I said, share. Subscribe, like and subscribe on my Facebook. On my YouTube. And let people know that you're going to share this around with amongst others, and like and subscribe as well on my Telegram page. If you haven't joined it, join it. It's worth your while. I mean, Nicole knows, and Gail's been in there too. And you're shown the truth, folks. We need to get the truth out there, and it'll come to the point where what's going to happen is that once this programming begins, okay, like for example, Facebook has talked about charging people money, like you got to pay $12 a month to even use Facebook, and then you have to start all over again with new friends. It's going to be crazy. But again, like I said before, this smart city thing is going to be the next agenda of fear factoring people, and we need to stand up for our rights. Okay. Eve, I know not enough people want to hear the truth, but you know what? What they don't want to hear, in the end, they're going to wish they did, because when they find out by mid-year or by the end of before the end of this year, they're going to wish they should have learned and listened. But again, they think that that there's nothing wrong. They don't want to see it. They're afraid to see it because they don't want to deal with the issues. Well, you know what? It's everywhere, all across the world. There are people out there that don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. And then there's people out there that are going like, I want to learn more. I want to know more. I've been awakened since, well, at the beginning, I was awakened since 1972, 73. And then it got even more awakened when I was in the early 2000s. And then it became, when I got more awake, I guess my extraterrestrial friends even told me, I was on the ship. They showed me what was going to happen in the future, and I had to be prepared for it, what to expect. But they said all things can change. The future can change to better itself, but we need to be prepared. So when the big C began and my wife came down with her cancer, I focused on her. I did not panic. And I knew then she'll be getting better. And also this whole big C was coming out. And then I thought, we're going to work through it. And I thought, no, I'm not going to follow everybody else's bloody rules. I'm standing my own grounds. I have my rights. So no snakes are going to bite me. Nope. Anyways, guys, be good to each other. We'll talk to you guys next time. In the meantime, and in between time, as the old Ed Whalen friend used to say, another edition. Take care, guys.
Everyone lives, everyone dies. Everyone loves, everyone cries. Round the world for all alike. So why is there war? Why do we fight? There's one sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I can live together. When one hurts, when one needs, we all gotta live together. Peace, make peace, make peace, peace. All right. Isn't it time, brother, stop dying? Isn't it time, mother, stop crying? Stop the fighting and the hate. We gotta make peace before it's too late. There's one sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. With one hurts, with one needs, we gotta learn to live together. Peace in peace, in peace. All right, make peace, peace together. Peace.